Okay, so here's what I recommend you include in an email to a photographer. And again, I'm including all of this in a mini project plan, amyporterfield.com/281. Download it to get these details. You don't need to take notes right now. I'm going to run through this list quickly, but it's
Wednesday,
all in the PDF that I provided for you for this episode. Okay, amyporterfield.com/281. Really
this
quick.
Week, I've pulled a juicy
You're going to
clip from one of
include
my
the minimum
favorite
number of
episodes.
final photos you want.
are going to
now,
love
you
it.
might say,
Are you
I
ready?
don't know how many
Here we
photos
go.
I want. Maybe just start out with 50 photos and see what they say about that. And if they're like, whoa, that's way more than I typically do, I typically will send you 30. Then you can talk about it, but just start somewhere. The number of outfit changes you'd like. Typically, I'll do 4 to 6 outfit changes. That way I've got a bunch of different looks. My photo shoots usually take 2 to 3 hours if they're big ones, or if I'm doing it just for social media. If I'm doing short ones, like once a month, I'll do a social media shoot with Alexa. Those are typically an hour and a half. I'll still go through 4 to 6 outfits. Also, the location or locations that you prefer. If you're interested in using more than one location, you need to ask if there are extra fees if you guys drive to a coffee shop and want to do a lifestyle shoot or anything like that. But you want to plan this out. The simplest photo shoots I do are at my house. So I think a good photographer can always find a few different nooks in your house with natural lighting, ideally, that you could do some photo shoots. So natural lighting is a great idea. A side note, when you do find the photographer you want to work with, ask them what is the ideal time of day to do the photo shoot. I think the last one I did with Kat, she was saying somewhere around 4 o'clock, 3 or 4 in the afternoon was going to be a really good time for the natural light photo shoot I was doing. I was in a location where there's a bunch of windows. Now, let's talk really quickly about location. So there are different places called Peerspace in San Diego, Peerspace, where you could literally rent out a location, a space that is meant for photo shoots and video shoots. So there's like little vignettes, like maybe a couch in one area with maybe a plant or some pillows. And then there's another little area where it's a kitchenette and some mugs and a cool refrigerator behind you that might be retro or something like that. And then another area, they've got a desk where the natural lighting is coming in. So they're literally set up for photo shoots. And in San Diego, they're not too expensive, a few $100s to rent them for a few hours. And I've done many photo shoots at Peerspace. And I've also done them at my house to save a whole lot of money. So you've got some options with the locations. You might not have Peerspace in your area, but look for some locations that rent out just for photo shoots. They're becoming more and more popular. Okay, so also you're going to ask whether you own the photos outright and if you're able to use them without giving credit. If not, and the photographer is going to use them themselves, or they require some kind of photo credit when you use them, make sure you're okay with those terms. And if not, you need to set the terms up in advance that you do feel good with. I personally don't want to credit the photographer every single time I post a photo, but I definitely will give a shout out to my photographers like I've done here. So I just want to do what feels a little bit more natural. So I've worked that out in advance. Ask how quickly they'll deliver the final photos to you and how many will be included with that final delivery. Ask if they do any touch-ups. So we don't do a lot of Photoshop with our photos, but I'll tell you right now, I've got this weird vein that runs in the middle of my forehead when I get nervous or overly hot or a little agitated, which I tend to get in photo shoots. I start to sweat, I start to feel awkward, and right away we call her Velma. Velma the vein makes an appearance within 5 or 10 minutes of a photo shoot, and it's ugly. Let me tell you, there's nothing pretty about a big fat vein running through the middle of my head, but it's who I am. So yes, it's who I am. Yes, it shows up in videos and you can't do anything about it, but I'll tell you, I will lightly airbrush that out of photos. I don't want it there, but I'm not going to airbrush all my wrinkles and make myself look thinner or anything like that. You do what you want to do with yours. I think the more natural, the better for sure. And a good photographer will choose good lighting and just make you look good naturally. So I don't need a lot of photoshopping. or airbrushing, but I like a little bit. And so ask if that's included. And typically my photographers will say, yeah, I'll take 10 photos and lightly airbrush them for you, whatever you need. And I'll say, great, get that vein out of there as fast as you can. So there you have it. Let's see here. I'm going through my list. Confirm that the photo resolution will be high and suitable for online and print materials. Because if you work with a designer and they ask for images, you might want to ask your graphic designer, if you have a contractor that you've worked with, what do you need? If I get photos, what resolution do you need for my sales page? I've had that problem before where the photos I've gotten from a photographer haven't been high enough res and I couldn't use them. So do a little work in advance to find out what that looks like. And also ask how much they charge per hour versus per session and see if you could save some money if you do, let's say, a session of 3 hours and maybe get more photos than you expected, but then you don't have to do a photo shoot for longer than you anticipated. Like more time can go by till you need more photos.